Hello again. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to pick up where we left off last session. We're in the book of Matthew, chapter 9, and I'm going to be reading verses 18 down through 26. I'll try to keep the screen up with what I'm reading. I'm reading out of the English Standard Version. I'm sorry that this software does not have that, and this is just all I have. This app on my Xbox is, as far as I know, this is all that's available, and it has the King James Version, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, and I'm using that as a follow along, but I'm reading out the English Standard Version because I think it's a little easier to understand, and I think it's important that we understand what we're reading, and not be distracted with the Old English, which is fine. But we don't understand that or hear that in quite the same way, and so it's harder for us to understand as clearly what's being said. Alright, so book of Matthew, chapter 9, verses 18 through 26. While he was saying these things to them, behold, a ruler came in and knelt before him, saying, My daughter has just died, but come and lay your hand on her, and she will live. And Jesus rose and followed him with his disciples. And behold, a woman who had suffered from a discharge of blood for 12 years came up behind him and touched the fringe of his garment. For she said to herself, If I only touch his garment, I will be made well. Jesus turned, and seeing her, he said, Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well. And instantly the woman was made well. And when Jesus came to the ruler's house and saw the flute players and the crowd making a commotion, he said, Go away, for the girl is not dead but sleeping. And they laughed at him. But when the crowd had been put outside, he went in and took her by the hand, and the girl arose. And the report of this went through all the district. So, if you notice earlier in the chapter, he was with the disciples, and they were basically in a place at table with tax collectors and sinners, and the disciples of John had asked him about fasting, and while he answered them, this ruler, we're now back to where we just read, this ruler had come in and knelt before him and made a great statement of faith. My daughter has just died, but come and lay your hand on her and she will live. He took action, he showed his faith, and Jesus responded, and then there was this lady. Let's see, now she had suffered from a discharge of blood for 12 years. I'm not sure what the discharge of blood means, but it's some malady, and she had suffered from that for 12 years. And she said to herself, If I can only touch his garment, I will be made well. And as an act of faith, she did touch his garment. And Jesus said, Take heart. Your faith has made you well. And see, that took a step of action. That took action from her and this ruler. It took action from him. Yep. And this ruler had also taken action out of faith and came and got Jesus to come to his house. And Jesus came to his house, and he puts these other people out because they're, they think the girl is dead, or that maybe they know the girl is dead, but Jesus comes in and he takes her by the hand and he heals her and brings her back. So, and the report of this went throughout all the districts. So a lot of people knew this, so they probably would start, as we continue down this chapter, you're going to see that more people came to him to be healed because they believed in him and they came to him out of faith. So let me scroll this down. I don't want to forget again, because I apologize for times when I forget to scroll this down so that we're keeping up in the same verses. Alright. So I'm going to read verses 27 down through 31. And as Jesus passed on from there, 2 blind men followed him, crying aloud, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." When he entered the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" They said to him, "Yes, Lord." Then he touched their eyes, saying, "According to your faith be it done to you." And their eyes were opened. And Jesus sternly warned them, "See that no one knows about it." But they went away and spread his fame through all the district. Okay, so this is the reason I chuckle at this, is that here they did things correctly. They believed in Jesus. They came forward. They had their faith. They showed their faith by saying, "Yes, we believe you can do this," and by following him around, just yelling, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." And when he asks them, "Do you believe I am able to do this?" and they say yes, and he touches them and says, "Hey, according to your faith be it done," and they obviously believed, and they received their sight. And here, the guy who just gives you your sight back says, "Hey, let's keep this down. Don't go running around, hollering and telling everybody." And what do? They went away and spread his fame throughout the district. So, I think we should be a little more respectful of when we're asked not to do something. That's why I chuckle about that. It's like, anyway, you get the idea. They weren't totally grateful like they should have been. I'm sure they were thrilled and happy to have their sight back. Do not get me wrong. But, Jesus sternly warned them, "See that no one knows about it." Well, of course, suddenly you go from blind to being able to see. People are going to ask you, and you're going to have to answer. But that doesn't mean you have to go out and trumpet the news, So, anyway, it's just one of those. This is just one of those things that's kind of a little humorous, because they really didn't do that, and it's kind of surprising that they didn't. So let's see. Let's read. This is short. Let's read 32 through 34. As they were going away, behold, a demon-oppressed man who was mute was brought to him. And when the demon had been cast out, the mute man spoke, and the crowds marveled, saying, Never was anything like this seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, He cast out demons by the prince of demons. So, the Pharisees are totally, not showing the right attitude at all here, and they're not appreciating what they have here in Jesus, and saying that He's casting out demons by the prince of demons. And later, Jesus refutes that and mentions how wrong that thinking is. So, I think at this point, even though this is relatively early in Jesus' ministry, I think they were definitely aware of Him and wanting to, or maybe they were becoming aware of Him, and they were worried about His sway on the people, because He did heal and He was becoming more known. So, alright, let's read the rest of the chapter here. It's verses 35 through 38. And Jesus went throughout all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues, and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every disease and every affliction. When He saw the crowds, He had compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then He said to His disciples, The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into His harvest. And here He's saying we have all these people looking for guidance, looking for the Lord, needing the Lord, and we need more laborers. We need more people to come out and to lead and guide and help these people and teach these people. And I think to some degree we still have a lot of that now. I think people a lot of times are searching for something they don't know what it is, and I think it's really God. They're empty. They're living an empty, awful life, without God, and they just don't realize that's the missing part. But they know something's missing, and they're out there trying to find it in all these different ways. And we probably still need a lot of laborers now. So that's just a good example of why we need preachers and teachers, and we need to try to guide people to the Lord as much as we can. It doesn't mean we need to be, rude or mean about it, but we do need to do that. So I want to thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any insight to anything. And God bless you. Have a good day.